Use the Force, Luke.
Live long and prosper.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Shut up and take my money.
By Grabthar's hammer. What a saving.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
X never, ever marks the spot.
Winter is coming. You're a wizard, Harry.
Stay a while and listen.
Hey, old Kermit Frog here.
Bow ties are cool.
So say we all.
This is a Play on Nerds. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls of some ages, to a Play on Nerds, episode 229. I'm Steve.
And I'm Jarman.
Yeah, that's the other guy. But we've covered this before. We are both the other guy.
That's true. Neither one of us is the guy.
Yeah. He'll show up maybe someday.
He's really late at this point.
He's fashionably late.
Really
maybe sometime in the 400s he'll make it appear.
Mayhaps.
Perhaps. But this week, the much anticipated follow-up to the surprise hit Nobody 2. A story of a man on vacation, pushed to the brink, forced to violence, while also confronting a life he left behind. Of course, this week we're honoring Nobody 2 by reviewing Paul Blart 2, which literally has the exact same plot.
Parallel movies here. Copycat cinema.
Parallel films. How is this lawsuit not happening? All of that later, but until then, Jarman, what have you been up to since last time we chatted?
Well, I got the pregnant wife thing going on, so a lot of prepping for that.
Shit.
You know, making the baby registries and prepping the house and all that stuff. Just a deep clean. But also, the cool thing was one of the authors that I've narrated a few books for, several actually. She was, I did hockey romances with her called Boarded Hearts and Frozen Over. Dead Rinker, I think was the last one I just did. And she's from England, and she was visiting here in Orlando just for a vacation with her family. So she decided to do a book signing in the local romance bookstore here in Orlando. And so I saw that she was coming from her social media. So I said, hey, while you're here, we should meet up. So I went to the bookstore. I brought a copy of her book for her to sign, and we took a picture and everything is up on social media.
Cool.
And it was just a lot of fun. She was super nice, and met her husband, and her kid was there. And actually, while I was in the bookstore, I found 2 other books that I've narrated that were in the bookstore from another author named Catherine Moon. And I posted those pictures on Instagram as well. But it's just it's a cool feeling now seeing my books actually physically in bookstores, but it stinks that there's no longer audiobooks on like tape or CD because nothing for me to sign, you know?
Right. Hopefully sign them big fat checks.
Yeah, so medium-sized checks.
Yeah, some checks though.
Yeah, that's like people are like, oh, you should go to conventions for like all these book conventions are popping up, but like all the authors have books to sell and to sign for more money. But as an audiobook narrator, there's nothing physical for us to give away or sell or sign. And so it's almost like, why would I want to go because it'd be fun, but at the same time, I have to make it worth my while to go there. So I'll figure it out someday.
Yeah, you would have to buy a copy of, but no, because you're right. There's no card.
Yeah. And they're
no
like
placard.
Like a picture. They don't want a picture of me because they don't want to see what I look like for the audiobook anyway. Like, they don't mind meeting me, but it's just strange. They had to find some way of monetizing going to conventions because I'd love to meet the fans and I'd love to meet, other authors and that kind of thing. But I don't want to pay to go to conventions because I'm losing money. So it's like, there has to be some kind of way to incentivize this that I can't quite think of down the line. So I might do a TikTok video about it and see if people have ideas.
I don't know. Maybe you go to conventions to network though.
Well, that's what I want to gain from it. Absolutely. But just either they want me to pay to go or to pay me, they'd have to I have to be big enough narrator to draw in people to come to the convention. I'm not quite there yet. So it's like a weird middle ground I'm in.
Because that would be the reason that you would get like a booth at a convention. It would not be for all the stuff or recognition you're going to get. It would be for you to network, meet other vendors, their agents, other people in the genre. That is why people get those booths even when there's no chance.
Yeah. But to go to panels, go to the parties, go to that thing. That's why I just want to start doing.
Yeah, you got to get in that. Get there and floss some ass. You get
floss some ass. Hey, that's in my books. All right. Save that for the books.
Werewolf binding or whatever.
But then I also went to a thing called Cat Video Fest, which I went to last year. A lot of fun at the Enzian Theater here. It's like the indie theater in town. And they basically, it plays nationally at indie theaters and it raises money for local cat shelters. But at the same time, it plays like an hour and a half film put together in different categories of wonderful cat videos that have gone like viral on the internet. And they have some short films interspliced in from like animators and stuff who made movies about cats. And there's really cute. There were kids there and stuff. And then they had cats they brought out on the stage at the front to like actually adopt that day, which is just adorable. And then last little bit of thing is insurance in the U.S. is terrible.
It's just awful.
Yeah, I had heart surgery when I was 12, as Steve knows, the old monkey heart thing. And so
baboon heart.
Baboon heart. And so every year or 2 years, I get a cardiology appointment to check up, make sure my heart's still doing cool. And it's been great ever since, mostly. But now it's been almost a year and a half, 2 years since my last appointment. And they called me the day before. I'm supposed to get my echocardiogram where they take a look inside your heart with the gel and everything. And they say, oh, I know that your appointment's tomorrow, but we called your primary care physician and they can't approve because you haven't seen them in over a year. And I'm like, what? It's like, oh, well, you're on an HMO plan now.
Yeah,
which means
HMOs.
I haven't been on HMO in like 10 years. So that means for people outside the US that you can't go to see any doctor you want. You have to get a referral from your primary care physician to go to any specialist. Even though I already had this cardiologist appointment on the books a year ago, I had to then go get approval from her, but she wasn't listed as my primary care doctor on my HMO new plan yet. So I had to do that, which will take 24 to 48 hours. And she's already booked solid in advance for months to get an appointment. So I had to cancel both of my cardiology appointments because I found out the day before that suddenly they weren't approved. But luckily, after an hour and a half to 2 hours on the phone with different people, different organizations, I got an immediate appointment because someone canceled that day. I got in. I was able to reschedule my echocardiogram for like next week. They had a 7 a.m. appointment and everything's back on track. But it was 2 hours of back and forth phone calls just to make things approved. And I'll probably still have to pay out my ass anyways because insurance doesn't cover everything. So that's American healthcare for you guys. It's fantastic.
That's right. It's like prison. You pay with the butt.
What's with you in the butts today? It's just,
oh, no. I need a good poop.
Don't we all?
Everyone deserves one.
But Steve, give us some good news. What have you been up to since the last time?
Paula has come and gone from town.
Tell our listeners who Paula is.
My wife's mother-in-law. My mother-in-law, my wife's mother. God damn it. She was in from California. We got to show her a decent amount. She got to go to Kennywood. Really got to see some of the kids' lives. And then we went and spent a day at camp.
Nice.
Which was fun. But otherwise, I've been working a lot. I'm training a whole new batch of employees, which is fun, but it's just non-stop. Yeah. They're all on different schedules. And so I'm trying to balance like 4 different places in the curriculum at the same time. It's real good. It's real good. It's making my days go fast. That is what I'll say. It's making my days go so fast. But Jarman joined my D&D group.
That's right.
That's the biggest thing that's happened.
I don't think have I been in a campaign that you've DM'd before?
You came for part of a Dungeon World campaign at some point.
That rings a bell.
Because you played like a sweaty palmed priest who healed people by giving them massages, shoulder rubs and stuff.
Of course I did.
It.
He also needed a good poop, I think.
He needed a good one. But I don't think since that, but that was like Dungeon World.
Yeah. That was a long
still
time
in our
ago.
Original San Jose apartment.
I forgot about that.
That many years ago. So Jar, what do you think of the group?
Oh, what a fun group. Because especially, I mean, it's nice that it's kind of people who have been either a longtime friend of yours or your cousins, literally.
Yeah.
And they seem really into it, which I was surprised. Like they're down to role play and to have fun with the characters.
They really are.
That's rare in a group like that size. I couldn't believe it. So that's actually pretty nice.
Well, it's because I've never really pressured anyone to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's really my big thing. Like if you want to go, I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm not going to fight you on it. And so because of that, it's not like other similar social D&D structures where people will decide to play together, but there's a few people that might not really be into it.
Yeah.
But they play because the group is playing. That is not the case here. Everyone has free will to come and go if they want.
They're not imprisoned against their will to play D&D.
Right. And so because that social construct, I think, doesn't exist quite in this group, it works very nicely.
That is nice. And the way...
All right, now feedback time. What do you think about my style as a DM? Was it what you expected?
I told my wife that I was like, I knew he had come leaps and bounds because he's been just doing this for so long now, and you've done so much research and good techniques, and you've thrown away things you didn't like, and just you do things that you do like. And so it was just really easy to do everything. And one thing I really love that I noticed that you did that I've always wanted to do at my best at when I very occasionally DM is you see someone not doing a whole lot and you take note of that and you bring them out and you kind of say, hey, what is your character doing over there?
Yeah.
Like, I noticed you do that a few times. I'm like, okay. And also I saw that your cousin's husband, not Dave, right?
Dave.
Yeah. He was pretty high and he was pretty relaxed and he wasn't doing a whole ton at the moment, but you could tell, I could tell he was relaxed. So you weren't pulling him out too much because you could tell he was enjoying it. He was laughing a lot. He was having a good time because you could tell that he wasn't wanting to get like super involved because he was relaxed. He was having a good time, so I think you have a great vibe of your players and what they're doing, which is the most important part, I think.
Well, good. Well, super excited to have you joining and getting into the story because we are so far in.
I know.
I think to myself, we're not that far in. And I look and I go, that was session 39, Steve.
Because you built so much lore, there's still so much more to do. I couldn't believe it. They've been there so long already.
They just, within the last 3 sessions or 2 sessions, met the big bad evil guy of the entire campaign.
I'm surprised they met him already. Yeah,
36, 37 sessions then.
Damn.
So
by the way, folks, it takes place in a giant toy store that has been abandoned for millennia, basically, at this point, and humans don't seem to be around anymore, and the toys have come to life, and it's amazing. It's a
think about
world.
Like FAO Schwartz meets Costco.
Yeah, I could see that.
But no, happy to have you. But that was the most exciting part of my week.
Well, thanks for having me there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I'm glad I could do it.
But I think that takes us to some nerdy news.
It's time for Nerdy News.
All right, so my story today is called Meteor in McDonough. So, according to CNN, in June, a man was minding his own business in his home in McDonough, Georgia, when something crashed through his roof only 14 feet away. He found a steaming space rock on the floor that had also splintered off into many pieces across his house that he is still finding to this day. So we had the rock investigated by geologists at the University of Georgia, and they figured out that the cherry-sized rock is a low metal ordinary chondrite, which I'd never heard that word in my life.
Okay.
And apparently it formed over 4.56 billion years ago, which makes it older than Earth itself. So basically, this guy was 14 feet away from a meteor just coming through his house. It was only the size of a cherry, but still, it must have been a little bit bigger.
They see how big it was the size of a cherry.
Yeah, so it was still broken into some smaller pieces, too. So maybe it was bigger when it first came in, but the biggest chunk he got for the geologist was the size of a cherry, which is just terrifying because I still could have killed him. Like a cherry.
This is like the sci-fi movie beginning.
Yeah, it
this
is.
Guy and this chunk breaks off in the wall, and they clean it all up, and government agents come in and get all of it, but one little piece is left behind.
It crawls away.
Years later, a child finds it, and Alicia's a demon.
Or part of the shard gets into his skin, and he turns into like a supervillain or superhero.
It's like an alien invasion thing.
Meteor Man. And
then he gets called to help the rest of it that was taken. Oh. So now it's a family film. It doesn't have to be a horror film.
Yeah, it brings them. They want to go back home, you know.
Yeah, and we get like a kid RoboCop kind of thing.
The kid RoboCop.
I'm in for it.
Yes, Meteor and McDonough the movie.
I am pro child RoboCops.
Child labor laws calling. I don't think so. But I always love the UFO story, but that was actually a real story, but it was just a crazy ass meteorite. Yeah.
It's not even a UFO. It's an IFO.
Identified flying object.
It is. It's identified. We know what it was.
And a little terrifying to think at any moment in our house, you can just have a meteorite come kill you for no reason.
Yeah. But here's the thing. You could die in your house at any time anyway. So why worry about it?
If you don't take that giant poop that you need, you're going to die of constipation.
But if I do, the place is going to blow.
It's going to blow up the bathroom.
Speaking of blowing up the bathroom, let's talk about Paul Blart 2. Well, we catch up with Paul after the last film. His life sucks. His new wife, who he married at the end of the last movie, left him after 6 days. His mother was hit by a milk truck. And his daughter is hiding the fact that she got into UCLA, but she doesn't know what it's going to be like to leave him. He gets called to a security guard convention in Vegas where it turns out that he is supposed to be the special guest speaker. His daughter flirts with a valet, waiter, pool attendant. That kid's everywhere. He does like 5 jobs. Like, that's not how hotels work.
Child labor laws.
We meet Miss Martinez, the hotel manager, who Paul accuses of flirting with him throughout the rest of the film. She goes to meet a VIP, a high roller, who lost a lot of money to the casino, but now he plans to take the casino for a ride. Him and a crew of thugs are there to steal all the art in the casino. Like an Ocean's movie, but terrible. Paul Blart goes down, bets on the floor, loses at craps, slugs a root beer, and spies on his daughter talking to a boy who he gets caught doing. We meet some security bros, I guess is the best way to put it, his security brethren. He shows off his Segway skills and gets hit by a car. That evening, he heads to the big meet and greet when his daughter sneaks out. She meets the boy from earlier, and they get along well. Paul goes back to find that she's gone and alerts security, but she calls and says that she's fine, and it deflates him mildly. Meanwhile, Paul, the next morning, they have breakfast. Paul does this really shitty guilt thing where he guilts his daughter about leaving him behind to go to college because his life is so bad. She storms out, and that night he goes to the big event while she goes and meets the boy from earlier. They go and sneak into a large executive suite where they think no one is, but it's where the bad guys have set up, and the daughter sees everything. She knows they're stealing the art. Meanwhile, Paul is attends a convention, gets humiliated by the head of security, and then finds out he isn't actually giving the keynote address. But then he suddenly is doing the keynote again when something happens to the guy. That just felt like nothing. Sorry, that's the reason I'm just so incredulous about it. Then he's giving it again, and he goes out to a garden to warm up, and this is one of 2 legitimate funny movies.
I laughed my ass off on
in this overall extremely flaccid movie. So he goes out. He's in the garden getting ready for his big speech.
Relaxing,
he's getting hyped
breathing.
Up. There's a guy playing a grand piano. It's just beautiful. And then all of a sudden, this big exotic bird comes in from the side. And he tries to shoot it away, and it attacks him. And that part is not what is funny. What is funny is that the action goes on, the piano continues to play, and then they show the piano player, and you are reminded that he is just watching all of this happening with a huge smile on his face.
Smugly playing the piano.
I lost my mind.
Me too. I was laughing by myself, just laughing my ass off on that.
I never thought I would laugh out loud at anything in a Paul Blart film. But it was so good. I have to give it credit. It was genuine comedy.
He punched the bird in the face several times.
I just love the piano player.
Yes.
Okay, so he goes on stage and gives an impassioned speech while missing calls from his distressed daughter who's been kidnapped. He then goes calling his daughter's phone, speaking to the bad guy who says that he goes to the cops that she's dead. Paul decides to investigate on his own and goes back to his room to look for clues. He thinks that he's about to be ambushed. A bad guy coming in, and he sucker punches an old maid in the stomach and takes her to the ground.
That was funny too.
That is the second legitimately funny moment in this entire film.
And she just goes, "It's okay. It takes my mind off the arthritis."
It wasn't the physical comedy of him punching an old woman. It was their exchange afterwards. Yes. That is so good. Are you going to want turned down, sir?
It takes my mind off my arthritis.
Yeah.
No, I deserved it.
No, I deserved it. So those two moments represent the only two genuinely funny moments in this film, and they happen so close to each other. Okay. Can you not? I'm just laughing in my chair. Paul is chased by hotel security because they've been infiltrated by the big bad guy. They're inside men. Paul makes a run for it and ends up in a Cirque du Soleil show, like one of the water shows. A bad guy's about to have him cornered, but he makes a makeshift stun gun, bow and arrow out of an electric fork and takes him out. He grabs a walkie-talkie and susses out, uses it to like trick the bad guy into telling him his next move. Paul is chased, but leads a baddie into the exotic bird trap, or the giant exotic bird attacks again. Paul gets some more intel and hops into an elevator with Mini Kiss, which is little people doing cover of Kiss.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Paul's daughter is MacGyvering her way out of captivity on her own, and we learn that the big bad guy is allergic to oatmeal. What a lame thing. Paul grabs a drone somehow and flies it silently to spy on the bad guy. This is maybe the biggest suspension of disbelief in the entire
Drones
film.
are real loud.
Drones are so loud, and he was so close. There's no way. So that's the biggest suspension of disbelief of the whole thing. Paul grabs a bunch of MacGuffin security items from the showroom, like non-lethal stuff that they set up earlier, and takes off. Paul beanbags a bunch of bad guys and runs another guy over with a Segway, but he has to go on the run when a guy pulls a knife. Paul stuns him, takes his phone and the painting that he has stolen, and strikes a deal to get his daughter back. Paul and the big bad guy Vincent face off. Vincent tries to sort of egg him on about being alone and his wife leaving him to try to get him to make a mistake. They yell crazy nonsense at each other, and Paul throws the painting, but it's not far enough, so he has to kind of kick it along. Paul calls in backup. The other guard pals show up to face off around the remaining bad guys. But that is when it turns out that Paul has been using non-lethal the whole time. So all the bad guys from earlier are back.
I thought that was pretty creative, actually.
I thought that was
it's pretty funny.
That was good. Good for them.
It's not laugh out loud funny, but it's like, that's good. I like that.
Mall cops and the bad guys face off in an epic, not really. It was, the whole thing was them mistakenly getting it right, with the exception of the
Mall of America,
the black female cop, the Mall of America. Who really whoops some ass. So I'm glad they at least gave one of them some actual legitimate skill. Paul somehow zip lines across the Las Vegas skyline as his daughter is being taken to a helipad, and he finally faces off with Vincent. He disguises himself as his daughter and lands a punch, but at the wrong moment, his glue gun goes dry, gluing him in place. A Deus Ex Machina character, the head of hotel security that I didn't mention to this point because it did not matter, unbalances the bad guy, allowing Paul's daughter to smear an oatmeal face mask on him, and Paul headbutts him, which pays off a joke that happened one time earlier. Paul is honored again. His daughter isn't going to go, and then he says, no, you have to go. And the owner of the hotel gives him a huge check to thank him for that. And he even meets a thick horse-riding lady cop at the end. And that is Paul Blart 2.
Woo! Mall cop.
Mall cop. So I had not thought about Paul Blart since you and I watched it for the podcast. What must have been 8 years ago now, maybe more.
Long. Wow. Yeah, because we did
that and Observe and Report.
Observe and Report cop and Paul Blart Mall Cop. And I think Observe and Report was like the more darker one. It was like dark comedy.
It was, because then he like shoots a guy and then drags him in bleeding in a trench coat.
Yeah, that was a miss for me. Whereas at least like this movie and the first one knows what it is. It feels like just some couple lines here that I loved. In the very beginning, he's doing the narration of what's happened since the last movie. When he's talking about his wife divorcing him, He says, her doctor called it uncontrollable vomiting. Her lawyer called it disillusion of marriage. So she's just like, why did I marry this guy? I love the couple. It was not Molly Shannon. What's her name? Who played like the Jersey wife?
Anna Gasteyer.
Anna Gasteyer and the Jersey like guy who's in charge of security. They're looking back at each other. She's like trying to get him to make Paul Blart the speaker of the conference. And they give these looks to each other back and forth. And I love just cutting back to Paul. He's like, he can see them doing this over and over again. It's just a little moment. It was kind of cute. And oh yeah. And there's one henchman. This always happens sometimes in these like supposedly family movies, who he knocks out, who lands face first in the water, and he looks just asleep. He's definitely dead because he's drowning.
Yeah, unless his body has like a response upon taking in its first lungful of water, he's gone.
He's dead. He killed a man.
So I know we said non-lethal, but
yeah. But yeah, I hadn't thought of this movie in a long time either because I think Kevin James has not really done this kind of movie in a long time.
Nah, he went on to some more serious fare.
Yeah, and he's gotten in better shape now, so he's not like going to be the kind of goofy guy anymore. He shaved his head. He's got a beard. Looks more intense. I don't know what he's going for, but
all right. So like things I liked.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin James was okay. 2 genuinely funny moments. Like laughed harder than I've laughed at a movie in a long time kind of moments.
Yeah.
In this thing. So I gotta have to give it credit for that, despite the fact that the rest of the film was just meh. I think that this also had the issue of the last one. And the last one, you were supposed to feel he was inept, but they showed that he was like a star performer and almost made the police, if not for his hypoglycemia. And they really straddled him between inept and incredibly capable. And this just felt like an extension of like, what are we supposed to think he can do this or not?
I did put that, especially they exemplified that exactly where they had the scene where they show him shooting the grenade launcher thing at the targets and he misses every one of them. But then later on, without any explanation, he suddenly can hit every single one of the bad guys with one hit. So it's like, which one is it? Is he just actually not as good as he thinks he is? Or is he actually as good as he thinks he is? Kind of pick one. Yeah. So it didn't really make a lot of sense. I agree with that.
Yeah, agree.
But I also put the good things, though, that there was more than those were the 2 big laugh out loud moments. I agree.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of moments throughout this movie where I was giggling. And I think it's just because they don't make movies like this anymore that are just completely ridiculous and silly and not meant to be taken, completely formulaic. Like, you know where the arc of the movie's going. So I feel like I needed this right now. Like I was really happy watching this movie. I think it was even goofier than the first one, if that's even possible. Like less believable. And some of Kevin James's line deliveries were actually better than his slapstick stuff. Like he had some little subtle like way he said mumbled some lines and things that were just like really subtle and funny. I was surprised that were actually more funny to me than him just like falling over constantly. It was just like
gentler moments.
Yeah.
If anything, it felt like Kevin James was like, nah, I don't want to do all that this time.
I'm a bigger name now. I don't need to be falling on my ass all the time. Also, the actress who played the daughter, her name is Rainey Rodriguez. I think she got her start in Disney. She's from the first movie too, but she's just super sweet. And I really believe she loved and cared about her dad. Like, I think she was really good.
I really wish that it was very weird in that like she was captured, but then she starts MacGyvering stuff to get out and she helps the boy get out and he's really impressed. And then they get caught immediately. Yeah. And it just felt like, give us a little more, give her a little bit more there.
That's
true.
Like,
yeah, she got the oatmeal thing at the end, but that was strange.
Yeah, they set that up early on, like way too obviously. And it's like, okay, he's allergic to oatmeal. Gotcha. That's going to come into play later on. I like that there were not one, but 2 Superstore actors in this movie from the TV show Superstore. Yeah. The guy at the front desk clerk was named Nico Santos, the actor. Mm-hmm. And then Lauren Ash, as you mentioned, the thick mounted police officer.
Horse riding police officer.
Yeah, she looks good.
So the things I disliked, everything about the bad guy just felt really bad and cliche and not in a good way.
Kind of one-dimensional, yeah.
I'm fine when there's cliches and they're playing up an archetype, but it just felt bad.
I love that actor, but I can't, there was not much there.
The only time that I kind of thought to myself, like, all right, this could get really funny was when they were just screaming things at each other in the hallway. that was right on the border of being hilarious. And it just never quite got there.
I could see that. Yeah.
When they were just screaming nonsense at each other.
Like spit was coming out of their mouths and everything.
Right. It was so close to being funny and it just never got there.
That's true.
But yeah, I don't know. I think if I'd choose between this and the original, I would probably watch this one again.
Yeah, me too.
To the original. I can say that pretty confidently.
I agree.
So Paul Blart 2 goes on the short list of films where the sequel is better than the original, people.
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
I
no,
did
but believe us, though.
That some of the writing was like for like 6-year-olds, but then other writing was for more like an adult audience. So that was in their wishy-washy thing. It's like, is this for small children or is this for kind of a mixture? I don't know. It was weird. I always have a problem with real guns being involved in movies like this where it's supposed to be more family oriented and like they just never use the guns properly like they should.
Well, I actually I dug that there was a decent premise as to why there were no guns. I actually really dug it, and I thought it was clever that on the one side, you've got the security guards who have no training with guns.
Mm-hmm.
And so the non-lethal thing was an interesting angle. And the bad guys couldn't use theirs because it would alert the hotel that something was up.
That's true. That's
so
a good
they had
point.
a distinct reason why they had to do hand-to-hand. And that way, I was like, okay, I can get behind that reason.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
Not as much gun use.
That's not a made-up Star Trek reason. That's a legit reason.
Instead of the last movie where they're going to close down like mall, so they could have used their guns all they wanted to.
Right. And it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah.
And also, like you said, with the stare down scene where they're yelling at each other didn't quite work. The same thing of the big fight scene where they're all the security guards versus the trained killers.
Yeah, the haphazard. They all just get lucky over and over again.
It's that whole like Inspector Clouseau thing from like the Pink Panther. He accidentally wins things because he's so bumbling.
Stumbles his way through it.
And some of it was good. Other parts of it were weird and just didn't quite work. And it's just a lot of flailing around and like the bad guys weren't doing what they probably could have been doing. So it almost worked, but just not quite.
Not quite.
And the last thing I'll mention is I like that they did make him get with the hot chick at the end. The standard trope of those like 2000s movies and stuff is, but then I wish they would have just had him have more setup and then get with the Mall of America guard Kira instead. Like, because she's like a really tough, really loves being a security guard. She was crying in a speech. Like I thought they were going to set that up and then never went anywhere. And I'm like, they would have been a great couple. And they just didn't go there for some reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was all my worst.
No, you're right. That could have been a good setup.
But yeah, overall, I had a good time watching this. It wasn't great by any means, but I had fun.
Yeah, I agree. Better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. There is some weird trivia for this movie if you're ready for it.
I can't wait. Let's hear it.
Okay, so a producer, they didn't name who the producer was, has stated that a character named the Shadow Man was going to appear in the film. The character was going to be a godlike being who put Paul Blart through his trials. And after a great amount of discussion, it was decided that they would remove the character, seeing that the studio wanted to keep the film grounded in reality. Which is very weird.
Wow.
But here's the fun part I think you'll enjoy because of your liking the scene so much. The director stated that the piano player in the scene where Paul Blart is attacked by a bird was going to be the Shadow Man before they scrapped this idea. So that's why he's smiling and enjoying it so much. Just like
it's because he's just watching this trial happen.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? That went in a weird direction. There's a podcast called Till Death Do Us Blart. And it's about 5 hosts watching this film every Thanksgiving until they die. And then their spot on the show is passed on to a new host. So I guess when they die, they're going to pass it on so that it keeps going to new and younger hosts to always watch this show.
In this movie, not Paul Blart, but Paul Blart 2.
2, yes, for some reason.
Wow.
In an earlier cut of the movie, it was made explicit that Paul Blart was an indestructible man tormented by his inability to die as he lost everyone he ever cared about. It was cut for time and can only be seen in bits and pieces throughout the film. So that goes along with the supernatural thing they were going to pull into this, but I'm glad they cut all that out.
Yeah.
It's weird. In a reference to the podcast Till Death Do Us Blart, some fans played the album Dark Side of the Moon in sync with this film, not the first one, the second one, a la The Wizard of Oz's Dark Side of the Rainbow. This version has been dubbed the Blart Side of the Mall.
So, oh my God.
There's a following for this movie.
That's weird.
While Paul Blart is giving his keynote speech at the security conference, on the wall in the immediate background is a picture of Gary Coleman, the actor, who became a security guard when he became an adult later on in life because he wasn't getting acting jobs. So it's a little homage to him. The woman who Officer Nick hits on while he's drunk in that bar scene, that woman, the actress, is Jackie Sandler, who's Adam Sandler's wife, who also appeared in the first film as the Victoria's Secret cashier. So he just gives his wife parts of movies he produces. And also along the wives of famous people in this movie, Stefania de la Cruz is Kevin James's wife, and she's the one with the small part as one of the bad guys who drops her purse and distracts the people so they can steal art. That's Kevin James's wife. Yeah. And just to throw in some reviews, this is 6% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is a bit harsh. Just a bit.
I would agree. That's harsh. From what I saw, that's harsh.
Yeah. Peter Howell of Toronto Star, he says, Caddyshack 2, Exorcist 2, Speed 2. To this small sample of the ever-expanding list of wretched movie sequels, add Paul Blart 2 Mall Cop, a gobsmackingly witless excuse for entertainment. Come on, man. Kevin P. Sullivan of Entertainment Weekly, far from the worst movie that you'll see, but you might leave wondering why you, the people on the screen, or anyone else in the theater even bothered. So that one was fun. Christy Laymeyer of RobertEbert.com. Truly, there is not a single redeeming moment in director Andy Fickman's film. A general flatness and lethargy permeates these reheated proceedings. And the funniest one at the end is Joe Neumeyer of the New York Daily News. The cinematic equivalent of biting into an old brown banana, which was a scene from this movie where one of these warehouse guys just starts peeling this obviously rotten banana and starts eating it. Do you remember that scene?
No.
Yeah, he goes to check on the crates that are they're shipping out the artwork, and he talks to this guy in the warehouse, and he starts to peel this like brown banana that's disgusting. He's like, "Oh, that banana's bad. You shouldn't eat that." He's like, "Well, I don't care." And he starts eating. He's like, "Oh God, you really shouldn't eat that banana." That was a funny scene too. Anyways, I think it's better than it should be. That's this movie.
I agree.
But you got a bit for us, Steve.
All right. So I've liked the recasting things we've been doing recently, so I'm going to take it to a crazy direction.
Oh boy.
I call this animated ultra reality. With Disney running out of animated classics to turn into live action / also animated movies, it is only a matter of time before Disney makes an animated version of one of its live action also animated movies of one of their animated classics.
Yeah.
Are you following me?
Okay.
They're going to make a movie, an animated film out of the live action movie of the animated film. It is only a matter of time until this happens.
Okay, I see.
But with Disney properties growing and Disney always looking out for more and more fan crossover, I had this crazy idea. So I've got a list of 10 animated leading men. And German, you're going to use that bank to recast the roles of animated versions of live action versions of Disney classics.
So these animated characters that you're going to tell me, I need to cast them as a character from a live action remake of an animated classic from Disney.
No, so
I'm so confused.
Let's try one for a proof of concept.
Yeah, okay. All
this
right.
is tough. Anytime you're talking about the possibility of making animated versions of the live action versions of animated classics, it gets very confusing.
Yes, it does. We're always talking about that.
All right. So if you go to the tab,
okay,
there's a list of 10 leading male animated characters.
Okay.
Properties you know and love. I'm going to give you a movie, Disney classic, that has been made into a live action and will now be remade into an animated feature. And you have to recast it with one of those people because eventually Disney's going to own all of those.
Okay. So they're going to play a character in that animated film.
So proof of concept, Aladdin was animated, now live action. Which one do you put in? Which one's Aladdin?
So one of these animated characters is going to play Aladdin.
Yeah, you're going to cast them as Aladdin.
Okay. Gotcha.
Disney's going to plug them in and make all that sweet money.
Should we give the list first of who you have listed here?
We can.
Yes,
that's
that way
what you
the
want to do.
audience
This
knows.
is a crazy concept.
Yeah.
Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin, Stewie Griffin, Patrick Starr, Bugs Bunny, Goofy, Scooby-Doo, George Jetson, Fred Flintstone, and Aang from Avatar.
Okay. So one of them is going to play Aladdin.
Yeah, who's going to play Aladdin? And maybe for a bonus point, who's going to play Genie?
Oh, okay, all right. So for Aladdin, I think Aang would be perfect for that. It'd be actually a good casting because he's got that quirky personality. He wants to do good, but he's great at jumping around on buildings and stuff.
Yeah, imagine him like airbending through Agrabah and stealing bread and shit.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
I'm down.
And then for the Genie, I'm going to go with Fred Flintstone. Oh, you want one of those things? Okay, I can't do it. He sounds like Peter Griffin now.
You ain't never had a friend like me.
Bam, bam, get in here.
Bonnie. I like that. I like that very much. I got a crick in my neck.
But you're a genie.
Okay, so now you've got the proof of concept.
Mhm.
All right. You're recasting the new animated versions of live action animated classics. All right, Peter Pan.
Peter Pan, okay.
So let's see Peter Pan, Captain Hook.
Oh, somebody with a total trickster personality who can just pull a prank on Captain Hook, Bugs Bunny, all the way 100%.
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, he's forever young, Bugs Bunny.
I would pay to see that Bugs Bunny versus like the animated Captain Hook.
Oh, man, kick his ass.
Oh, my God. He'd be blown up 12 times.
Yep.
Okay, and then who's Captain Hook?
Oh, for Captain Hook. That would have been a good Fred Flintstone.
That would have been. You're not wrong.
Yeah, I think a good Peter Griffin for Captain Hook is kind of bumbling.
Prepare to chase my blade, Pan. And he falls down the stairs.
Hey, Shmee, get in here. I got to kill that crocodile real fast and I need it for dinner.
Captain.
Why do you talk like that? I hate it.
It's a speech impediment.
I shouldn't make fun of that, but I'm going to.
Captain. All right. Tarzan.
Oh,
Phil Collins is doing the soundtrack somehow.
Totally Patrick Star from SpongeBob.
I've never met anyone like you.
Me, Tarzan, you, Jane. Oh, man.
I'm on board.
Yep.
All right. Quasimodo from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, God. I could see like Stewie Griffin taking this very seriously.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. He sees it as a performance opportunity or something.
Oh, yeah, like a very method acting kind of thing.
Yeah.
He'll really get into it. I can't do a Stewie Griffin.
All right, this is the last one. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Tramp from Lady and the Tramp.
That's what I'm least familiar with, but I can't believe they made that into a quotations live action movie.
That was their first one.
Was it?
They like snuck it. It was like one of the very first when they first launched Disney, whatever the hell.
That's
Disney
terrible.
Plus or whatever. That was like one of their first opening things.
Wow.
Was the live action Lady and the Tramp.
Well, I'm not going to go the obvious direction and cast a dog in that role, which would be Scooby-Doo or
Good,
Goofy.
because that would be racist.
So that leaves George Jetson or Homer Simpson. And I think
the war of attrition has ended.
I was going with Homer Simpson for that one.
Sure. I can see Homer Simpson going after a plate of spaghetti against a dog.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I bet you that happened on The Simpsons at some point.
Everything's happened on The Simpsons at some point.
Everything's happened on The Simpsons at some
That's what they keep thinking it predicts things because it's just had so many episodes.
Yeah, it's just so much variant at this point.
Yeah.
No, I would totally watch that.
I love it.
Okay, well, that was animated alternate reality where we recast the inevitable animated versions of live action versions of Disney animated classics.
And I love how it doesn't actually just animate a new version of that. It's going to cast other animated characters.
They're going to use existing properties. They're going to milk them. They're going to
meld them together, milk them together.
That's right.
Oh, well, that brings us to some radical recommends.
I recommend.
If you have the means, I highly recommend picking one up.
What do you recommend I do?
I recommend Pleasant.
All right, so this week I haven't been able to consume much content or do much besides my regular routine, so I'm going to recommend the show we just finished tonight, the last episode of Season 2 of Yellowjackets. It's a very dark show, only gotten darker this season. There was a lot more levity in the first season, so it's very good, but man, you have to watch one episode at a time or you're going to get like...
It's a hard ride.
Whew, did you finish the second season too?
No.
Oh,
we finished first. We've done first.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, I won't give any spoilers away, but it's just, man, there was a lot to put you through, but still just fantastic acting. And even in season 2, because everyone's had to age a year. These older teens that they casted as the women, you don't really notice it that much. That's not spoiling anything, but like they somehow don't look like they haven't aged very much in that amount of time, which is great. Maybe they casted people who just don't age too much.
Yeah, true.
And they, I don't know, they look so much like the adult actors. So if you don't know the premise, it's basically this girls soccer team in the 90s. Their plane is going to fly some international soccer competition and they crash somewhere. They haven't been explicit yet on the show back to where they've crashed. But they are in the woods surviving and they resort to weird things in the woods to survive. But then you cut back and forth to present day and you see the adult versions of them in their like early 40s, late 40s, to what their lives are like now and the mysteries that come out of that. What is are paranormal things happening? Are they not happening?
What really happened?
What really happened? What are they making up in their heads? What do they tell their loved ones now? And murder mysteries and paranormal mysteries and strange things. It's just all over the place. So, but definitely worth watching. I think it's like a Showtime Hulu combo, but if you can get it some other way, recommend that too.
Winky, winky.
Winky, winky storks, maybe. But yeah, but you recommend season 1? Did you like it?
Season 1, yeah, I enjoyed it. You're right. It has a little bit of something for everybody.
Yeah. And 90s music. A lot of 90s music in the background.
True. They did get a good soundtrack.
Yeah, that is good. But that brings us to some trailer reviews.
Thank you for being... Oh, we can't play that. For copyright reasons, we can't. We'll get struck.
There it is.
But somehow this isn't protected.
Yeah, should be.
All right. Well, this week for our trailer reviews, I picked a trailer that kind of came out with a whimper. And that's Avatar 3, Fire and Ash. What an underwhelming thing this is.
Yeah.
So the first one was an amazing cinematic experience. I remember seeing it in big 3D and it was nuts. It was the first time and maybe the last time I saw 3D really used and utilized as a tool of cinema. Beautiful. And not just a shitty gimmicky thing they throw on top of stuff. And then this last one was not as good from a story perspective, but the visuals have come so far. They were already great, but they've come even further. And so there was this big spectacle to it. And now here we are like 2 years since the last one came out. And it's like, oh, these are the same graphics. To the point where when this came on, I initially thought I was like, is that footage from the last film? Or are they showing us footage from the new film? Because there's just not enough gap to have that spectacle. And then as it turns out, the story is not as good. So I have neither side is pulling me in for this one.
Yeah, I had the same thought. I just don't care. I didn't see the last one because I was like, I thought the first one was the movie itself, engaging wise, story wise, was okay. It's a story we've seen a lot of times, kind of like the white savior of some indigenous
The second one has sassy and wise whales.
Oh, well, that's fun. But like you said, saw it in theaters and it was amazing. It was game changing. It was like almost 20 years ago now or something. I don't know when that was. That wasn't that long ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago. But it was incredible. But now I didn't see the last one. And when I was pissed off about this one is that it doesn't seem like they care if you're a new viewer who maybe didn't see the second one. Because I have no idea what the hell this movie is about. And also it looks like a big cartoon because what engaged me in the first one a lot, though, is the intermixture of live action footage of real people.
You were anchored with the human position.
Yeah. And so you could see how real they looked compared to people because we've seen CGI creatures next to people before. And that was amazing how well it looked next to real people. And now there's no reference. So it just looks like an animated movie. Like
it's just blue cat people with different blue cat people with fishy blue cat people.
Yeah. It could be a Pixar movie. And then the same thing, too. And also, I don't think the CG looks that great in some instances, where especially when they show the hybrid kid who's like a half human, half Na'vi or whatever.
Yeah.
He looks uncanny valley, creepy, weird, strange looking. It doesn't look right. It looks off-putting.
But I will say, if like a Pixar film, Randy Newman does the soundtrack, I will go see it.
The blue people up in the tree.
It's just him covering that song Blue. I'm blue, da boo dee da boo da, da boo dee da boo da, da boo dee blue.
They're gonna steal the unobtainium. They're gonna obtain it.
Which MacGuffin will it be? So this one I'm gonna give. Raul Julia comes home after a long day at work. The sun's already down because it's winter when this movie's coming out, and he opens the door, gets his shoes off, puts on his nice slippers, flips on the light, and turns, and the couch has been suspended from the ceiling by a series of ropes that are tied off in various parts around the room. He stares up at it in disbelief, and then peeking his head over is Gary Busey. Hey, Raul, we're joining the Air Tribe. I was like, what are you talking about? Gary, we said we weren't going to do this anymore. Gary's like, no, it's different this time. I'm a Na'vi. And Raul just starts moving. He goes over to where one of the ropes is tied and he starts to undo it. Gary's like, no, Raul, don't do that. Raul, no, don't do it. And Raul just goes to a second one. No, Raul, please don't. And then the couch goes, crashes down. And Raul turns off the light, goes back out to the car, drives to an Outback and gets drunk.
Outback. I love that it's an Outback, of course. Or TGI Fridays.
One of the two remaining TGI Fridays.
Yes. There's a few of them here, I think. Oh, I'm going to give this one, same thing. Raul Julia comes home from a long day at work,
Yeah.
And
that's how they all start.
He comes home and he's going to get some water from the kitchen. He's going to go change and get ready for bed. But he sees in the kitchen just a slumped over standing Gary Busey, just standing there with a dead look on his face. He's like, Gary, what's wrong? Gary? Shakes him a little bit. Nothing happens. He goes into Gary's bedroom to try to look for something to help him or figure out what's going on. And he sees this little creature on the bed in this little machine trying to fix it. And it's like a little demon goblin thing. And you find out that basically Gary Busey's been an avatar this whole time of this little goblin creature.
Oh, shit. And it's his little capsule thing.
It's his capsule thing. He has to get inside him to control the Gary Busey avatar. He's been a goblin demon this whole time.
The goblin demon fixes it, hopping in as Raul stares in disbelief. The lid closes, and just in a flash, Gary Busey is behind Raul Julia with glowing blue eyes.
Raul, you shouldn't have looked in here.
Cut. Blackout.
Oh, I'd watch that.
I would. That's going to be Avatar 4, baby. We just wrote it.
In 10 years. With a dead Gary Busey, probably, and Raul Julia.
Now that man's pickling himself. He'll be around forever.
Well, that brings us to the end of episode 229 of A Play on Nerds. Please join us next time, where in honor of The Long Walk, a movie that's got, I think, a retelling of a Stephen King short story, or no, book that was written under his pen name, about people walking for as long as possible, and the last one to survive this very long walk gets a large prize. We're doing a movie just like that, that of course you'll recognize, from 1987, called Death Row Game Show. The all-popular.
That's right. When life and death is made trivial, hilarity ensues. And I'm excited to check it out with you. All of that and more next time. Come on back and be our nerdy audience. We'll keep on coming back and be your nerdy co-hosts.
You didn't say your tagline.
Thanks again, Internet. I thought I said all of it. I've got a long tagline, man. Thanks again, Internet.
Internet. Stay nerdy, my friends.
Thanks for listening to A Play on Nerds. Feel free to email feedback at aplayonnerds.com with all your questions or comments.
Shoot us a message on Facebook or Twitter and earn yourself a sweet shout out on the show.
Review us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts so even more nerds can find us. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, we aren't picky.
Check out our entire back catalog and other offerings at aplayonnerds.com.
And how?